Hello, Jaguar students. It's your friendly neighborhood math teacher, Mr. Allred, and I'm bringing it to you live as ever here with Unit 2, mini lesson number 3 about multiplying decimals. By the end of this class period today, and after small groups, you should be able to solve word problems that involve the multiplication of decimals. So good luck with that. Please try to pay attention to these notes. As always, you can pause the video and ask a partner a question. You can always ask me a question during Edpuzzle. Here we go. All right. I wanted to let you know this is your sixth entry in the table of contents. Today is October 9, 2017, and this is Unit 2, mini lesson number 3 on multiplying decimals. Take a second to jot that down in your table of contents if you haven't done so yet. On the top right side of that page, you're going to want to write entry number 6, and then we're going to get started. Way back when last week during Unit 2, mini lesson number 2, we talked about adding and subtracting positive and negative decimals. Please tell Edpuzzle what you remember about that. I'd love for you to keep what you wrote in that box, and then I also want you to write, hey, it's important to line the decimals up, use zeros as placeholders, and then we added them and subtracted them just like we did with integers in Unit 1. That's how we added and subtracted positive and negative decimals last week. In Unit 1, way back when, we talked about multiplying integers. And we did problems just like these guys, -4 times -5, or -4 times +5. Tell Edpuzzle and write down what you think the rules are for multiplying integers. That's absolutely right. The rules for multiplying integers are that when the signs are the same, either they're both positive or both negative, the product is always positive, and when the signs are different, the product is always negative. You're going to write that down because that's definitely going to be part of our steps for multiplying decimals. Okay? So, here you go. When you multiply decimals, so for example, if you were trying to do 4/10 times 7/10, okay, I'll tell you right now it's 2800. So let me prove it to you. We're going to shade in 4 rows of the grid, just like that. Shaded in 4 rows of it. And then we're going to shade in 7 columns of it. This represents 4/10 times 7/10, okay? And then when we figure out where they intersect right here, they intersect in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 4, okay? That little chunk right there, 2800ths of the grid. 4/10 times 7/10 is 2800ths. Here are some steps that you can use to always multiply decimals well. The decimal points all do not have to line up. You do not even have to line the decimals up, because what you're going to do is you're going to multiply just like you would multiply integers, okay? Don't even worry about the decimal until the end. And at the end, you're going to count the number of decimal places in each factor, okay, and find the total number of decimal places in each factor. And then you're going to move that many decimal places to the left in your final product. So, for example, if we do 4/10 times 7/10, I know 4 times 7 is 28. So I just wrote that right there on the bottom. I wrote 28, and then I realized that there was 1 decimal place here in 4/10 and 1 here in 7/10, and I moved 2 decimal places to the left, and the product ended up right there in front of the 2. So that's 2800ths, okay? You can always do that when you're multiplying decimals. They do not have to line up. You can multiply them just like you would multiply integers, and then you count the total number of decimal places in each factor, find the total number of decimal places, and move that many decimal places to the left in the product. So before you write your summary, let me do one more example for you, okay? One more example. Number 1, right here on the back of your mini lesson, says -6 times +1. I want to remind you that a negative times a positive equals a negative, okay? So we're going to do 6 times 1. What is 6 times 1, ladies and gentlemen? That's right. It's 6, okay? Then what I need to do is count the total number of decimal places in each factor. There's none here. There's nothing behind the decimal point, and there's 1 here. So in my final answer, I'm going to move 1 decimal place to the left and the product, and we said a negative times a positive was a negative. So my final answer is -6/10. there for -6. -6 times 1/10. Okay? So again, multiply them just like they're whole numbers, count the total number of decimal places all together in both factors, and move that many decimal places to the left in your product. If you do that, you'll be good to go. You'll be golden, okay? I want you to tell Edpuzzle what you got for number 2, okay? And then after that, you're going to work on some more practice problems maybe before you come to my station, or you might just come right to my station and work on some more practice problems. But again, I wanted to remind you of your learning goal. Okay, your learning goal for this mini lesson is to solve word problems involving multiplication of decimals. So eventually, we're going to get to a point where we can solve word problems like 7, 8, 9, and 10 there on the back of your mini lesson. Don't worry about that yet, because sometimes you got to do some of these just regular problems before you work into word problems, okay? Make it a great day or not, the choice is yours. And please remember that of all my students I've ever taught, you are one of them. All right. Have a great day. Thanks.